Hello again, and welcome to another horrific review. I'm joined once again by Steve, and we're here to chat about From Beyond the Grave, a British anthology horror film. This is the last of the Amicus series of movies, which started with Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, Torture Garden, The House of Drip Blood, Asylum Tales from the Crypt, and The Vault of Horror. This was made on a budget of 203,941, very precise. And I
Where
do
did they get
believe
the
this was
941 from?
very, very precise. That
Yeah.
Facebook decided to break. Fantastic.
There's got to be a 50p on the end as well.
Yeah. No, it's always 99. Everything's 99p.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, very precise. I saw that.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Fix Facebook here. Sorry, Facebook. We're bringing you back. Facebook is so wonky. There we go.
Hold on.
Facebook decides to have a wobble every other stream. No, most times it goes right, and then it decides to have a wee, I'm not going to work. Yeah, because we were talking about doing the House of Drip Blood as well, and now realizing this is an entire series. What do we do? Do we start from here, work backwards? Do we get to the first one?
Yeah. I think Amicus, from the films I've seen, they seem to be competitive against the sort of Hammer type of thing.
Very Hammer style.
Yeah. I remember seeing From Beyond the Grave in the same light that I used to watch Hammer or Triple Bill of Hammer films on a Saturday night on BBC Two. And this is why I suggested it, because I remember the film. But the only segment I remember was the first one with the mirror.
Yeah, that's right, because you were trying to figure out, and I couldn't for the life of me. Now, here's the thing. I remember this, but I don't remember the anthology stories. I remember the bits with Peter Cushing, especially the bit at the end. Yeah. I remember all that.
Yeah. That was very, very good, wasn't it?
But I don't actually remember the segments, the story segments, which is very strange. It's amazing how your memory works.
But what a cast, wasn't it? You had the likes of David Warner and Peter Cushing.
The Pleasant family, you know what I mean? Mother, his father and daughter.
Diana Dors.
Mm-hmm.
It's Donald Pleasance and his wife. It's
his daughter.
Was it his daughter?
It was his actual daughter, yeah.
Daughter, yeah.
Yeah, and the act of kindness.
Yeah. It's had a good old British cast in it, and I'd never seen. I'd never sort of imagined Donald Pleasance in that sort of movie, but then he starred in quite a lot of horror movies. From you had the Michael Myers. Michael Myers, yeah.
Yeah, he was in Halloween.
Yeah.
He's a psychiatrist, wasn't he?
That's right, yeah. But he was, and he was also in another film. I
could almost swear he was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but no, it wasn't him. It was he's one of them. You know, he's one of them faces. He's a bit like, he reminds me of Bob Hoskins.
Yeah,
he's one of those ones. He's there. You know what I mean? He's always there, and he always puts out a solid performance. But it takes you a minute to go, oh, yeah, he was in it. Yeah,
that's Donald Pleasance. Yeah.
He's in a lot of TV as well.
British cast. Yeah. Who else was in? David Warner. Oh, Ian Ogilvy. His biggest role was he was the Return of the Saint. He took over from Roger Moore.
Oh God, that wasn't yesterday.
I
don't remember the Roger Moore Saint, believe it or not.
Yeah. Angela Pleasance played Emily Underwood, the psycho girl who done all the black magic.
That's his actual daughter. Yeah.
Come to think of it now, she actually looks like him in a certain way, doesn't she? But,
you could see it, yeah.
Yeah.
Why the hell not? It worked.
Yeah, but the like I said, I remembered from a child the first opening scene because back then it scared me quite a lot. I was thinking mirrors, mirrors. Is there anyone in my mirror? You know.
There's
Um,
something. I was the same with, and I got a camera made fun of me for it, but Prince of Darkness.
hmm,
I
yeah,
yeah, some of that stuff was daft, but the mirror scene was the bit that got me, and the same with I was not Stephen King's, not Salem's Lot. That was a window, but there was something similar to Salem's Lot, and it was vampires, but it was a mirror, and I can't. That's one I can't bloody remember,
yeah,
and I don't know whether because I watched it when I was young, I got those two images mixed up
yeah,
because the one I'm thinking about is the scene in Salem's Lot with the window, and his friends in his pajamas, and he opens the window to him, and he gets bitten.
yeah.
There's another vampire movie where the kid's staring into like a full length mirror, and then the vampire comes up behind him.
Right.
And I can't remember for the life of me what that movie was. It's ancient, it's an oldie, but for the life of me, can I remember what that movie is?
No,
And I
I
always thought it was Salem's Lot, but it's not.
um I lost interest in the movies of Stephen King's books, and because a lot of them were bad
Yeah,
after
they
reading
don't
the books.
they don't translate well whatsoever.
No, even down as far as Misery, the book was a lot more graphic than the film. She chopped off his feet in the book, whereas she nobbled him in the film.
I suppose there's only so much you can do, at the
Yeah,
time. But
um,
this series is just classic horror. This is classic.
yeah,
And it reminds me there's a TV series that are on called Friday the 13th. And it just reminds me a lot of that. And I can see where Friday the 13th got its idea from.
right.
Because it was a antique store. The difference was that two people inherited, and then they had to go and try and retrace all the items that were sold because they're all cursed
Right.
objects.
Yeah.
This is actually the one that got me thinking. That's when obviously we're maybe talking about having our discussion,
Yeah.
getting a few folks on and discussing actually morality and horror, because this is a classic story of how morality works because the victims all do it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were well. The first one, he conned the guy, didn't he? But
Yeah,
all the rest were thefts, weren't they?
yeah,
Were they?
thefts or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's was it five stories in it? One, two, three,
Four,
five
four
stories.
plus,
Four
yeah,
plus the epilogue, yeah,
four plus the thief at the
which
end.
has been building up all the way through it, all
Yeah.
the in betweens. But yeah, business setting is it's quite city street, little antique store, and essentially each customer's coming in, and then the story pulls back after they pick up an item, and then what happens to them. So the first one is the gate crasher, which is the one that started this whole thing off.
Yeah. The mirror, but
So
he I did notice that he they kind of missed the death out because he had a, a different color shirt on to start with when he committed the first murder, and then suddenly he went to a blue silver type shirt, but it was covered in blood.
it was a bit messy with the editing. I think they were trying to show him breaking down and going mad, but
Yeah,
I think maybe the cutting room got a wee bit mixed up.
it was like he committed the first murder, which they showed to us, um, and then somewhere in between the first and the second one that we saw, there might have been a few more
Hmm.
which we didn't see because his blue shirt, I think he had a white one on to start, and then his blue shirt that he was wearing was already covered in blood. So it left it open to the imagination. Did he kill in between them, or was it just the fact that he changed his shirt and moved a few of the dead bodies because they were found under the floorboards, of course.
Yeah, and a
Um,
and a flat because that's
yeah,
clever. But yeah, it starts off. We've got Edward Charlton. He's the main character in this. Ludley's that kind of is the longest one, but the rest of all these are just short, punchy, like Twilight Zone type episodes, or not even as long as that, or Tales of the Unexpected. It's that sort of thing. Just short, sharp. Get straight to the point as quickly as possible. But Edward Charlton, he basically Peter Cushing plays the antique dealer in this, so he's kind of the linchpin between them all.
And that's a perfect role for Peter Cushing, because he was just like the Peter Cushing, wasn't he? Whatever expression he gives in a film is always, you can always guarantee it's something evil, even though it might not be him performing the deaths, etc. personally.
Yeah,
but he just gives that air of evil.
Yeah, but in this case, I would say it's a bit more ambiguous than just straight up, because, like I said, Edward Charlton, as I said, they all do something. So he hoodwinks Peter Cushing's character, because we don't get a name, he's just the shopkeeper, and basically tells him that this antique mirror is a reproduction to get him bargained down for on the price.
Yeah.
And once you do this, once you carry out this honest acts, you've more or less sealed your fate. That's kind of the moral of the story here.
Yeah.
And then he's boasting to his friends.
If you do anything wrong, you were a result of something nasty, weren't you?
Yeah. So he's not so much he's more like a character sitting in judgment.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's just the way he was hiding around the shop, wasn't it?
But he's given it's like a sting operation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's what's that term that people it's what people do when you're not watching them, tells you about their character.
I don't know.
Do you know the whole thing about people are only good if they're being watched, and it's when they're not being watched is how you know the character of someone. It's when they think they're not being watched.
While the cat's away, the mice will play, sort of thing.
Yeah. So everyone's got the opportunity. He's not obvious that he's there.
Because I like the bit where he's got the crocodile on his hand, and he just suddenly comes out, and I thought that's brilliant. No one knew he was there, but he was there.
You could picture Peter Cushing, like he just phoned us in. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll just do this. Puts himself under no effort whatsoever. No. He's almost like going boo, just I'll do that. That's just having fun. He is not stressing himself whatsoever. I miss characters like that. I miss actors like that, or just fun of the role. And I suppose it's the old star power thing, isn't it? Which is completely gone now.
Yeah, I mean he's old school, isn't he?
Yeah.
Peter Cushing. You had in the 60s. You had the old Peter Cushing and Vincent Price.
Well, they were the
two main ones, and then Christopher Lee came around.
But I've been looking at, help me out with this one, because I have yet to see. I can't think of a movie with Vincent Price and then of the other two in them. It was always Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. They were the duo.
Yeah.
Vincent Price seemed to have got tagged onto it, but he was his own entity.
Yeah. Yeah, you never actually saw him with like another.
I know they were friends. I know that amount. I know the three of them. They were known as the trio of horror. I mean, they got pictured together a lot, but I don't think the three of them actually worked together.
No.
And I think I'm probably committing blasphemy here, but I think Vincent Price kind of jumped on the bandwagon. If I'm honest, because Cushing and Lee were the powerhouse of horror. Those two together could have sold anything.
Cushing was Van Helsing, wasn't he? In a lot of the
but even in The Mummy, I mean, there were rival doctors. And even that scene, if you remember in The Mummy, where they're trying to get on the train.
Yeah,
and isn't Christopher Lee's characters being all uppity about it? No, good sir, you let me on. And Peter Cushing's characters, one being all a bit of woo, bit of wah, greasing the palms and getting himself on.
Yeah.
And they were playing off each other. The two of them always played off each other, but I never saw Vincent Price. Actually, what was put out by the media about the three of them and what actually they did together in film, I don't see it.
I don't think I've ever seen the three of them together, like you said.
No, and I don't think I've
Um,
ever seen Vincent Price with either of the two in a movie.
no,
I
not
genuinely,
not even singly as like Vincent Price and Christopher Lee.
yeah, that's what I mean. He's never appeared with either, paired up with
No,
either of them. I don't believe. Correct me if
yeah,
I'm wrong, folks out there on the interwebs.
no, I don't think so.
So I think Mr. Price's PR team were a bit sneaky. Went, you get yourself in with them two boys, get your face about, and you're made.
Yeah, yeah, and
I start to think that's probably we see half a horror fandom's going to come after me with pitchforks
even
and burning
though
torches.
I felt it was easy to confuse the two.
Oh, Cushing and Price are
Vincent
so
Price
alike.
and yeah, I can remember again thinking as a child, confusing the two actors who were.
It's only when they speak, like
Yeah,
facially, they're very similar.
yeah,
But Vincent Price has obviously a unique voice. That's what sets him apart. But now that I've looked, the more I look back into all this, with an adult eye and not through the eyes of nostalgia, I'm starting
yeah,
to see this sort of thing. And I'm like, all right, you sneaky little devil, you just you just grift on there to people greater than yourself.
yeah. It's just checking.
Make yourself a wee name there. Why don't you? Naughty. He should have went to the store, But
Yeah,
back to the Gatecrasher. Yeah, Edward Charlton, he's boasting to his friends how he conned Peter Cushing's character. So once he did that, that was it.
yeah.
He sealed his fate. It
I'm
was that sort of.
I'm just looking at Donald Pleasance. As he was in so much.
Oh yeah,
You had Circus of Horrors in 1960. Just trying to think of any horror films that I recognise. Eye of the Devil, 1966. From Beyond the Grave, 1974. House of the Damned, 1974.
I remember them.
Let's see. Night Creature, 1978. Halloween, 1978. Dracula, 1979. Is that the one with?
That's the one with Christopher Lee. That's I think that's Bram Stoker.
1979. One that. Oh, was that a Christopher Lee one in 1979?
I believe so. Yeah.
I thought Christopher Lee ended in 1974. 19.
Taste the Blood of Dracula was his last one. If
So
I'm not mistaken.
Dracula. Frank Langella. It was Frank Langella.
Right. You think we've done a whole? You think we've done a whole series on Dracula and movies, and we should know about this?
Yeah.
You think we'd spent 2 hours talking about Dracula in every iteration possible? maybe should have remembered that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is what happens when you get to a certain age, folks. The old memories banks start packing up because it's full of so much stuff. That's what it is. It's not actually your brain degrading. It's you fill your brain with that much guff over the years that it just rambles all together.
He was also in Halloween 2.
Yeah, because
and you mentioned Prince of Darkness.
God, he was in that as well. Yes.
Yeah.
He was the priest, wasn't he?
Phantom of Death and Vampire in Venice.
Vampire in Venice, I remember. I think
Halloween 4, Halloween 5.
Yeah. Okay.
And 19.
That new Exorcist movie's tanked, by the way. So suck it, David Gordon Green, you prat. Slap it up you. It's getting review bombed. Nobody likes it, and it's not going to do well. The review screenings and that are just nothing. Nobody's come out to see the previews. Nobody's interested in it. Nobody likes it. So the savior of horror has failed again,
Yeah.
and I have no sympathy. Just seeing you mention Halloween there, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's can't have to have you've had a week off. Like trying to get back into the groove again. Oh yes, let's talk about the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the one that you actually suggest was trying to remember, and
Yeah.
as what got us on
Put
this.
it
But
on.
he's with that sort of hipster crowd, isn't he? This guy Edward. He's with the cool gang of the 70s.
Yeah. He's because they wanted to perform seance all the time, didn't they?
He did. He just like yeah, let's perform a seance, and everyone's like, yeah, let's do that. Everyone just clears the tables and goes for it. You're like, no, okay, that's normally how it works.
I think quite a lot of films back then had the sort of seance thing, didn't they? Where whether it just sort of come into you know sort of
I think it was just a fad. It's the
fad.
you
Yeah,
call like the what I mean. It's the whole "don't look into the abyss because the abyss looks back" sort of warning. It's
yeah,
that sort of thing. Don't mess with forces you don't understand. It's
yeah.
that's the thing with it's like any genre. I mean, all genres are guilty of it. You have
But,
something that works and captures people's imagination, and then they just do it and they do it until people get tired, and then they do something else. I think the difference is with horror is it can change. It has more variety and can still change it about, even while having the mainstream stuff can follow a trope, but there's so much independent and mid and low budget horror movies of different things that you don't mind as much, if that makes sense.
yeah. But the first sketch, it seemed to be the story that you needed to perform a séance in order to
That's what called
bring the character out of the mirror,
yep.
or up to the mirror. But yeah, so
It's you open the
you know,
door, you send out the invitation.
yeah, yeah.
It's like the
So
vampire can't come into the house unless invited. You
if
have
no
to
one
ring the
if no one
doorbell.
performed a séance, poor David Warner would have been stuck there forever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But that's the first ghost, that was the whole point. That he was waiting.
yeah.
Um
And his outfit was quite old, which meant he'd been there. Could have been a century really,
yeah.
because he was dressed like very sort of Victorian Edwardian, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I have to admit, for the time it did like the effect.
Mm,
Yes, I know
yeah.
it's a piece of glass. Yes, I know it's a smoke machine. But it
Yeah.
looked good. And it still looked better than half the CGI crap you see today.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And if you think of the effect, he must have been actually in behind the mirror to do it. It
Yeah,
must
it must have been a
Yeah,
false
must
wall.
have been a false room or something like
Yeah.
that. It was
And
just
lying down, so somebody obviously helped them
yeah,
come up.
yeah, yeah. There was a comment made that for most of the film he got up from the left hand side, and then suddenly he got up from the right hand side, and then went back to the left hand side. So, but you leave that to your imagination again. I think they picked the actor perfectly for that. He was just well picked,
Mhm.
well placed.
It's a good cast all throughout. I have
Yeah,
to say, it's even the lesser known actor, it's done really well. I just
yeah.
miss just give me some good old classic horror, good old classic storytelling. Why not? It doesn't have to be super complicated. There's nothing complicated about this story.
No, no. It's the
So
basis is they all visit the antique shop and come to a grisly end.
yep.
Really.
And this first one, obviously, by holding the seance, first of all, by cheating the the preparator,
Yeah.
then you get the cursed item. Because if he hadn't have, I think it would have worked out because we'll see that later on. Don't want to jump ahead, but he seals his fate by cheating in the first place. Then he's
Yeah.
boasting about how he cheated. Then they hold the seance, so that invokes the spirit. And then
Yeah.
obviously, once everybody leaves, the thing starts whispering in his ear, which
Yeah. But
there was a
the
wee bit
whole
of overacting, but it wasn't too
to a certain
bad.
degree, you've got to use your imagination, because you got to think, oh, what would have happened if you paid the 250 quid?
But we'll see
Uh,
it. We'll see it later on.
yeah, and
I don't want to jump ahead.
no,
Behave. You say you've had a week off and you forget how this works.
yeah,
Your brain's still like thinking of uh
New
eating
York.
New York and eating loads of food and cycling about the place. We're back to work. Come on. Come on, Nick, get it sorted.
Yeah, but yeah, and it makes you just wonder about things. You know, um, like I said about the blood in between the change of shirts. You know, if you got to add your own imagination into what happened between the change of shirts,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
And it didn't give a number because normally with these sort of things, because effectively the spirit says to him, Edward, kill for me, off I need souls, feed me, and then you'll be free, sort of thing. Or
yeah.
or I'll be free.
One thing that I did notice was um, the first guy in the mirror. What was the actor's name?
Oh, I can't remember. I
Uh,
don't worry about stuff like that. You know me, I just concentrate on the story.
David Warner. Um, I can't think of who it was. Um,
No, because even in the IMDb,
Marcel Steiner. Marcel Steiner, and I seem to know that name from somewhere.
that's one of
Um,
those.
he his at first his face was all like zombie-ish,
Yeah, it was all gaunt, and then
um, and then it gradually grew. The more blood he got. But if you notice, David Warner, when he was in the mirror, when he came up after their seance, it was perfectly normal.
yeah, I don't think they were. I don't think they were thinking that far ahead. Like I said, these are really like these are all about 20 minutes each, 25 minutes.
Yeah, so that could have easily been, a mistake, but
I think it was. I think that they hadn't really. They were more trying to get you caught out with the impact as opposed to thinking, oh, because they weren't planning to start all over again. So,
yeah,
and plus, it hadn't been as long.
the actually it was one of the only mistakes I noticed was at one point in the mirror you can actually see a like film man holding a light towards the. I mean, there were others in the second sketch where the room was suddenly lit with a candle about that big.
Yeah, all the
that,
time though.
that Emily was lighting.
Oh, it's the same when people switch on when people are in bed and they switch on the side light and everything illuminates,
Yeah.
and then they switch it off and then the big light comes off, and you're like, yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah, so that was the only thing you saw um, a film hand or whatever they call them
I
in the
put
background.
Martial Steiner's name down. He does well as an imposing figure. I actually put it in the notes. That's how senile I am.
Yeah, yeah, but, yeah. The second sketch I thought was very good. Again,
This was the longest one. I was wondering why I was taking so many notes.
yeah,
And then I realized this is actually everything else is a shorter sketch. This was actually a bit more drawn out. So the second one, an act of kindness, we see obviously this come to its finale, the gatecrasher, and we've talked about in other streams about the mirror. He fades and then basically takes his place
yeah,
and has to wait generations, but not as long as Martial's character. But then we'll go back to the antique store. It's funny because it keeps setting up for the ending because you know it's coming because you keep seeing this guy hanging about out in the alleyway
yeah,
and bumping into each of the characters.
yeah, yeah.
So you kind of know it's coming.
I think Peter Cushing knew what was coming as well.
Well, I think he's his character isn't strictly human. Let's be honest.
No.
I think the impression you're getting here is he is tuned in to the spirit
Yeah.
world, if not part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got Christopher Lowe. And actually, this is one I resonated most with because obviously, I've seen it with veterans and that, and just come into civil life,
Yeah.
and just it's an alien world. And
Did you notice in the second sketch a lot of they missed a letter out of most of the things. I don't know whether it was an intentional thing or whether it was just a production thing, but they on the sign on the that was hanging outside the antique shop. I forget what it was now. There was a
Temptations.
letter. There was a letter. Yeah, there's something written underneath, and there was a letter missing. And then on Donald Pleasance's little holder that he was holding with all the bits in,
Little
he'd
concession.
spelled serviceman wrong without the R, I think it was. And then there were several other bits where there was a letter missing or a misspelling in a lot of the things. And I thought, is it an intentional thing for some reason, or is it just the fact that they thought, well, this is a serviceman, he doesn't know how to spell serviceman. I'm trying to think of what was written on the antique sign. It was the one that was not the one attached to the shop, but he had a hanger outside. And,
I can't remember.
It was spelled wrong, or it was missing a letter.
Yeah, because the thing is called Temptations. You know what I mean? It's basically
Yeah.
spelling out you're being tempted, and if you succumb to temptation, then things are going to befall you. But
yeah, they were quite. If you get the chance to watch it again, just look at in the second sketch about for all the misspellings or letters missing out of things that are advertised or written. I didn't get to look because I couldn't see afterwards whether the letter in the temptation sign outside the shop was actually back. So
that would be strange if it did.
yeah,
That'd be one to look at.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's why you need, you can look at all these sort of movies, especially these type that are trying to weave a subtle message. It could be a case that was done deliberately. Thing is, back in, you don't have the same, like today it would be spoiled and it would already be out on the internet before the film ever showed. Watch out for the Easter eggs, and basically tell you where they are, because people can't figure things out for themselves anymore, or can't have discussion points, or can't have any ambiguity whatsoever. It could be. I missed it completely because I wasn't. That's not where my focus is. I don't. I'm looking at my whole focus when I do these things is the characterization and the storytelling.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of, that's nice, but if I'm always looking, do they get those two bits right? If they get those two bits right, I can forgive a lot.
I thought the second sketch, the actual twist at the end was quite good, because if you hadn't seen the film, you would have never expected it to be the wish of the child. They listened to the father because they killed the mother, and now they were listening to the child who wished both his parents dead. And then you don't know what happened after that.
Yeah, it's a sort of universe, but but we've got this guy, Christopher Lowe. He was a pay clerk in the army. Believe he was a sergeant. He's now in basically a clerical role, a senior clerical role, executive role, and his wife.
It's just Diana Dors, isn't it? She seemed to play a lot of those parts in the 70s, didn't she?
Horrendous, plays a horrendous character.
You just wouldn't want to be married to it, would you?
It's one of those things Although I've made some questionable life choices, so I can't really judge anyone. We'll just leave that there. That's but
You're
yeah,
not the only
these
one.
these two these two live in misery. Like
Yeah,
these two despise each other. They're sort of trapped together because
yeah,
society says, obviously divorce that time divorce is like big taboo. So to get that would just have you blacklisted, looked down on society. He's not actually. I think he is. He's not terribly unhappy at his job. He's comfortable, but she isn't happy or satisfied.
she isn't happy that he's in such a low paid,
Yeah,
low graded.
she's your classic pads. We call pads. Army wife.
Yeah,
Camps would be set up in these small towns or bases, and a lot of people say they see soldier and like, oh yeah, the prestige and the status. And then if you're in the pods, if you're in the married quarters and stuff, basically you're in subsidized housing. So you're like 2-3 bedroom house is partially paid for by the army. I mean, they look after them. You pay minimal rent. Everything's looked after.
yeah,
People still whine. Like people will not change light bulbs and expect to be done for them. That's how entitled to get. Um, wives are always given like there's always naffy jobs and stuff. Plenty of extra jobs for
yeah,
wives, so they don't have to go too far. There's a community, and then they're not happy because their husband's always away on deployment and stuff.
mm,
And then they want them to leave the army. Them to leave the army, they're not satisfied because what you get in the army doesn't equate to a civvy street, even though you're more
yeah.
highly skilled and you deserve
It's
it.
a lot of the cases, isn't it? It's
I'm doing shitty jobs at the moment and getting spoken to like I'm an idiot. And it's like,
yeah,
dude, I was in charge of entire departments. I ran an entire shift myself. I was a section commander.
mm,
I was given in charge of like equipment that's worth millions. It's
yeah,
the whole Rambo thing. Believe it or not, Rambo's like, I was in charge of $1 million equipment. Now I can't even get a job breaking rocks. Believe it or not, it's actually that because you do have that when you move up in that and you get position of responsibility. You do get responsibility,
yeah.
and then to go into civilian street where somebody's like, "Have you tied your shoelaces this morning?" It's like,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah. Do you know how to turn up for working time?
Yeah,
That's the thing that you're never late. Like 5 minutes before with your kit ready to go. That was from the factory. From basic training. That's beat into you.
yeah,
5 minutes before parade with your kit, everything you need for that particular lesson ready to go, or whatever it might be. Exercise. You look at part one orders. You always they're always posted at 6 p.m. at night, 6 a.m. in the morning.
yeah,
You check at 6 p.m. at night to ready yourself. You always check at 6 a.m. in the morning. The duties you sent the duty student in case there were changes.
yeah.
You always thought ahead, and then you come into the city street and you're like, why is everybody waiting to like 5 minutes before? Or why is this meeting was scheduled for 10? Why is there people still walking in at 5 past? And you're freaking out, because you're sitting, you're note taking equipment, everything what you need for it, and people are
Yeah,
just mincing about and oh, I forgot my pen, and then bimble it, and you're like, oh, So
there's
I got a lot from this one.
there's just a funny bit. There's a military preparation college for youngsters in around my area. I won't say which town, but down where I take the dog sometimes, down by the river, and there's huge amount of like rugby and football fields, etc., where she loves to run around. And there's a nature reserve. Um, this is where this military preparation college train.
Yeah, one of the Army sixth form colleges.
Yeah, yeah. But the last time we were there, it started pouring down with rain. So they were doing exercises under a load of trees that are down there and doing all the running around, etc. When it started pouring down with rain and it didn't look like it was going to stop, the commander took them back to the college building. And
Oh, it's
I thought, what's the point of that? If there's a war, they're not going to say, "Hold on, ceasefire." It's raining, are they?
that's the way it's gone now. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous. Part of one of the reasons I've seen it happen. That's why I ended up leaving. That and the civilianization of a lot of things. I ended up just getting burnt out. But
yeah,
back to this, I can just see
yeah.
Christopher Lowe's character. I can see his frustrations.
Mm,
I've seen a lot of marriages break up in the army. In fact, no, it's not. I'll not even tell that story.
mm,
There's some characters who they like the lifestyle, so they'll divorce one and they're straight up looking for the next one, so they
yeah,
can keep their house. Like
yeah.
blatantly looking for another squaddy in the same regiment to marry. Like there's shit like Aquazod, and that's what her character. God, what'd you call her?
Diana Dora. She was.
I thought I put her name down, or was that another character?
She was Mabel Lowe.
Mabel. Yes, I thought I put Mabel's name down.
Mm.
Yeah,
Um,
Mabel. Absolutely. I've seen her. The thing is, she plays a good character because I've seen her type,
mm,
but she despises him,
yeah,
and he is just threaters with being disrespected in his own home.
but she even seemed to despise the child as well, which you can understand why the child had wished that both his parents were dead, because each time that he he tried to join in with, it was a case of shut up and do your homework.
Yeah,
Shut up
just
and
children are seen but not heard.
yeah,
You were a method for me to trap this man, sort of thing. You could
yeah,
just see the whole thought process by her character that she plays.
yeah,
Um, and then we find out later on that all she does all day is go to bingo and arse about and doesn't
yeah,
really, never happy, just squanders.
yeah,
Not and there's this whole debate, oh, the nuclear family, the household, oh, it's oppression. It's like, no, it's an agreement between two people.
mm,
If somebody's out being the breadwinner, then the other person looks after the house because you
yeah,
need two people to work together, or else if you're both out working, you both share the responsibilities. You can't be two separate entities fighting against. One can't just do all the work. Two people have to work together.
yeah,
And the whole point of today was supposed to be that, okay, either or can be, but you need that stable family home. But what this week had seen is just constant conflict
yeah.
and strife and hatred,
Bickering.
basically bare naked hatred.
And she
And
she was
that's,
putting him down all the time, wasn't
yeah, and
she?
that's not good.
Yeah,
That is not good. That's just an absolute horrendous environment to live in. Nobody should have to put up with that.
yeah. But
But then they spend more time giving you the back. It's almost the understanding why he does what he does.
yeah,
Why
I
is
thought
he
that
tempted?
him and Donald Pleasance, their characters, because they were both servicemen
Mm-hmm.
or ex-servicemen, they seemed to gel, didn't they? It didn't matter that one was a sergeant and Donald Pleasance. You never found out
Yeah.
what rank he met. They just seemed to. I mean, one
Or the
seemed to
fact
be
one's in a stable
a
job,
job. One was begging really.
but
Uh,
we're also seeing as well, Christopher's, the character of Christopher, he never passes by this man without buying something.
no, no,
And even his wife, and even today's when he spent like 30p or something, and it's not like he's handing over wads of cash. Even at that standard, it's the same today, giving somebody a quid and
yeah,
buying something off them.
mm,
And she's like, "You're giving to a beggar." It's like, not really. He's selling stuff, so he's bought stuff. He's doing an enterprise.
yeah,
Why would you fault if somebody's actually doing that? Why would you fault them?
yeah,
So he's went and bought all the shoelaces and matchboxes and knickerbracks. So he set up his little stall on his concession stand thing.
yeah,
So why wouldn't you? He's run the business essentially, a very basic one. So we're
yeah,
seeing that this character is kind, but
yeah,
it's down to the name of the shop again. Temptations.
yeah,
It doesn't matter how good you are. How do you react when you're tempted?
yeah. And it's the name of the shop is just perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Temptations.
that's the whole theme of the
Temptations.
anthology.
Yeah,
So we're seeing Christopher's not being respected at home. He's not happy. He's he feels hated. He feels like he made a mistake coming out. He doesn't feel like he's, and then he's seeing this guy, although he's a lower position, he's more decorated. You know, he's flipping like Kenny Everett with flipping the gongs on him.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, right, I wasn't decorated. And that's where he sees the medal, you know, in the window.
Yeah.
Which is a massive no-no. You don't wear what you're not entitled to. That's a big, you know, I mean,
No, no. You can actually get done for that, can't you?
Well, if the law over here, it's not like in America, stolen valor is different. If you pose as a soldier to gain, to either commit fraud or to gain from it financially, then you can get done. But the loophole is if somebody's just pretending, then they're not culpable.
Right. Okay.
And it's a whole thing because you've got people friggin' wing daggers and wings and medals, and I mean they really when they vault it up, they really vault it up hard. Like they don't go in between. Like they've got all the badges, all the courses, all the conflicts. You know what I mean? From the Boer War onwards, you know, they've
the Zulu War.
Yeah, flipping. Like when these guys do it, they do it hardcore. But
it
was interesting the way, which is true. You have to show if you're buying a replacement medal, you actually have to. You don't just go and buy it in the shop.
Yeah.
Now there are places now like eBay and stuff sell stuff, but medals are actually engraved, laser engraved with your name, rank, and number.
Yeah.
So
if Donald Pleasance's character had actually looked at the medal, he would have seen that it wasn't his.
Yeah, because they're stamped as well. Yeah. So they're laser engraved now, but they're obviously back then. They were, I mean, it was a big thing. It's not when you're given a, because I've obviously got campaign medals, I've got long service, Jubilee medals. Jubilee medals aren't stamped because they're they're basically given at the time of Jubilee, and it wasn't just military; it was anybody in the services. So it was police, fire. Yeah. So the cost of trying to do them individually would be astronomical. But when you get presented a medal, comes a little box. It's got a little thing with your name, rank, and number, and then it's engraved inside. You know, man, it's not a small thing.
No.
To get. No. I hate people because it's a thing with the vet as well. I don't hang about with veterans. There's the whole Tommy Two Shits thing. You know, you've been the 10 reef, I've been the 11 reef. So there's always somebody trying to put you down, saying they've done more. And I can't be arsed with that because it's like, if somebody's had the guts to go and do it and go through and even get through basic, because there's so many, like the dropout rate is ridiculous. Yeah. You start off and there's a couple of hundred, and then all of a sudden you're whittled down to like maybe 60 of yous.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the first week, it's just boom, 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 people just dropping off left, right, and center. And that's only basic. That's not even anything harder later on. Promotional courses or anything, you know what I mean?
Just after the Falklands War, my next door neighbour, Sergeant Jeff Dow, big guy, really nice, but he come in one day with a video cassette and he went, Steve, you got to watch this. I'm in it. So there I was watching this documentary.
See if he's trying to say he's the agent with a fucking flag in the back. There's about 500 people are the Marine with the flag in the back doing the goose green walk. Is like
he was in it, but it was all of about 2 seconds. All you saw him do was load the rounds into the GPMG. It was like that, and then it panned somewhere else. And I says, give him back his VHS. I says, you were only in it once, Jeff. I said about 2 seconds. Oh yeah, but I was in it.
That's that was a big thing.
Oh, it was so funny because I watched the whole thing. Expected him to have a big part like Peter Cushing did in the film.
Yeah, but that's the culture, right? So if you picture somebody who's not been in the video, like you're saying, there's only you think of the tip of the spear. You think of the people that have never joined, people that have tried to join and not got through, the people then who have got through and not done anything, Then there's the people that have done more, and then there's people that actually end up they're loading a GPMG on TV during a conflict. That's I mean, that's a very, very small percentage. So the amount of prestige of being that tip of the spear is immense. So back to this character, you can understand he's he's banned matches of essentially a street beggar, but he feels inferior to him because he's not happy with his own life.
Yeah.
And this guy's sitting gonged up the high hilt. And I think that might have been, when we see the end of this, you see it part of the story, that was part of the bait.
Jim Underwood. And he seems quite happy and like
he's actually quite content and happy.
In order to meet him on the first time, he spruced himself up and he took him home and he seemed so proud of his daughter.
Yeah,
because at that point you didn't know what was happening. You thought, oh, it's a man with his daughter, and he just seemed so natural and so proud of the fact that he had a daughter.
Once again, this is a bit of culture we have lost, and I think it's because we've got so much American culture shoved down our throats that we've forgotten about. Yes, you mightn't have much, but it's what you do with it, and you can still have dignity and self-respect without being a millionaire.
Yeah.
And it's this toxic American culture that's flooded over here of you're nobody and you're shit, man. You're shit unless you've got 20 mansions. That weird friggin' mindset that there was a proud working class here. There was a proud middle class, and there was a very strange upper class.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the weirdos were. Now we've got this like weird toxic upper middle class is just full of absolute lunatics. But the working class is gone. That idea that yes, I have my best suit. Yes, I'm going to show you my home. I'm proud of my home.
Yeah.
That we need to try and find that again. I think there's a good lesson here. This is a very moral tale.
Yeah.
But the fact that Christopher's character, who technically, if you think about it, is higher up the pecking order, is higher up the social ladder.
Yeah. But he
feels inferior.
He seems to prefer the lifestyle that Jim Underwood and his daughter have.
Yeah, because happiness, contentment.
Happy and natural.
It's not money, it's not prestige, it's contentment and happiness. Yeah. You get those two things cracked, and nobody can touch you.
No.
That's why there's lunatic can't stand people who are happy. It seeds and eats away at them because they can't stick it.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this get played out, like, because this is I know it seems like we're talking a lot about it, but it's the longest story. Actually, it's the one that's played out the most. The rest are all short and sharp, but this one is actually you're actually getting a bit of backstory to the character. You're getting a bit of background as motivations. But basically, what it is, he goes in to buy the medal. Peter Cushing's character is like, well, yeah, certainly I'll sell it to you if you have your certificate.
Yeah,
which is you get it on your orders. You get obviously changed.
He sort of leads the temptation, doesn't he? Because he puts it in the cabinet right in view. He doesn't lock the door.
But it's the same as like you mentioned. He's never in the shop at first.
Yeah,
he is always the side because he's watching what people will do. It's the temptations. It's the whole theme, and it's so cleverly done and so simple. Yeah. So just by not being there, is somebody going to nix something? Are they going to swap over? Which we'll talk about the next one. Are they going to look at something and then pretend it's not?
Yeah,
and that's it. What are people like when they don't think they're being watched? That's how you know the character of someone.
Yeah.
But but actually his character, he's enamored with these two, and you can tell he's trying to set him up with Emily and stuff, and it's all a game.
Yeah, it is, and
yet his wife hates him, but she hates the fact he's staying late. But she hates him when he's in the house. It's that weird.
Yeah,
I've been there. It's not good. It's very, very strange.
Yeah. You're not the only one.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Okay, so you hate me when I'm here, but you hate me when I'm not here. And it's like they just hate her. They don't want you to be happy. They want to destroy you because they're unfulfilled. Like
Yeah.
toxic relationships are shocking. You wonder, some people just get together and they shouldn't. It's just.
So I was saying, innit, my wife left me for my best friend. God, I miss him. Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
it was I mean, right through, like you said, there was this male relationship, this male bonding growing and growing, and then he lands up sleeping with his daughter.
but that so much time had went past, and it
Yeah,
was only once he broke. Did you get like from first meeting Emily? It's like, oh, that's a dangerous one.
yeah, he seemed to be slightly engrossed with her, didn't he? Because he was staring at her. Um,
Well, I think as time went by, he wasn't really too bothered. He was more interested in the friendship, and just feeling respected.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then it obviously grew into something. But did you get the impression that Emily was dangerous? Because I did the first sight. I'm like, oh,
I felt there was something different about
yeah.
her from the moment that she was introduced. You begin to think, is there something not right there? Is she disabled or
I
but
didn't
then
think that.
she,
I definitely thought dangerous. I definitely
not
thought,
not perhaps disabled is the wrong word. Is she slightly disturbed? Um, and when she goes around singing that song, and he was going, oh, and she goes, oh, was I singing? And he was too rude to say, look, that song's got some pretty nasty words in it. But yeah, he put it in a nice way, didn't he?
yeah. And then it was the whole thing. You have to tell me to do it. You have to order me to do it. Is that your command?
Yeah,
And you're like, yeah, you're being set up here, mate. It's just.
yeah. Even down when they had the wedding cake, you want me to cut the wedding cake? Yes,
You,
yes.
you knew it
But
was coming.
yeah,
So she does witchcraft and that, and then actually
and she
puts a
did
curse.
look, she did actually look a bit like a witch, didn't she?
Yeah, it was, like I said, there was danger. Like from her first appearance and her smile, there was danger. I got the danger vibe
Yeah,
that this is not someone you mess with. Don't take this person for granted.
yeah. But I loved the twist in that one where they they were doing it for the child, really.
Yes,
Uh,
it was Stephen who prayed or something, and they're supposed to
yeah,
be angels of death or something.
yeah, but, yeah, and it was just that end scene proved it was Donald Pleasance down to a T, wasn't it? It was his sort of characterization that he played in a lot of films really, but this was one that he was evil in, but he
Yeah,
didn't give away the fact that he played.
was he evil though? This is the whole thing about this series. This isn't a straight up good versus evil. This is people dooming themselves. That's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah, yeah,
I the door, I would say there's an evil character,
yeah,
but everything else is a force of nature.
yeah,
And it's you know what I mean? It's like you decide to stick the lightning rod up in the sky and then complaining that the lightning hits you.
yeah,
That's what I'm getting from it. I don't see. I think it's a bit more ambiguous, and I miss things like that. Where you can actually talk about it. You're not being beaten over the head and told this is the good person, this is the bad person. Like if they wanted Christopher's character, the character Christopher to be evil, they would have just made him evil.
yeah,
Um, the first one, Edward, he's a bit of a prat, not
yeah,
necessarily evil, but a bit of an idiot and a bit of a shyster.
yeah,
Um, but then again, it's did he have to succumb to temptation? Did he have to keep the mirror? Could he have not got rid of it or got away the first time? He let himself be enamored. He let himself kill
yeah.
this character.
But he
And
did try to smash a mirror, didn't he?
yeah, but that was already too late. He'd already done the first one.
Yeah, he'd already done it.
He'd
Yeah,
already done it.
yeah.
So he, you know what I mean? It's not like, yeah, the regret after the act, but he'd already
Mm.
carried the act out. So he had let
Yeah.
himself succumb to temptation, and that's what this whole theme is. Same as
Mm.
Christopher's character, he stole the medal.
Yeah.
He continued to have the relationship, knowing
That.
what what the plan was, and he let himself be led into temptation.
Yeah. With Emily. Yeah.
Yes,
It's a
he knew
temptation.
what he was trying. He knew her father was trying to set him up,
Mm.
and he knew that it would involve getting rid of his wife. He knew all this stuff was on the cards,
Yeah.
and even she saying, "Look, when she had the voodoo doll, do you want me to? Are you telling me to do this?"
Mm. Yeah.
And he's trying to justify it, but he knows that's the whole thing, and that's the. It's a classic tale of hypocrisy. You can lie to yourself as much as you want, but you know
Mm.
it's facing the stark truth. And
Yeah.
unless you're prepared to look yourself in the mirror, you're leading down a bad path. And there's people like spend their entire lives, I guess, that won't look in the mirror. We'll see it on the internet all the time. We see these people that cause the most damage because they won't look at themselves or their own lives, or they fix the problems with themselves first. They
Mm.
won't look inwards,
Yeah.
and that's it doesn't lead to good places.
No.
And that's how horror's done. And that's why I want to do the morality in horror talk, because there's so much in the horror genre that goes through all this. I think it'd be a fun, absolutely fascinating chat to have.
Yeah. Would you have to do it over two then?
Mm,
I don't know.
and
It's,
I need to plan it out. Need to think about it a bit more. But
such a big subject. Yeah.
this is a fantastic anthology. Leading into this,
Mm. Yeah.
and like I said, it's moral ambiguity. It's not You're not told straight out. You have to make up your own mind, and not everyone's going to agree with me.
Mm.
It's down to
Everyone
yourself
has
what
their
you think.
opinion, doesn't it? So yeah. But the, the third subject, wasn't it, about
Yeah, the
the
elemental. I think this
element?
is the fastest one. This is the most like
It's yeah. It appeared like on that one. I think it was just something they put in, and that's what it appeared to me. It didn't really click to me. Whether it was the character of that Margaret Leighton played,
Madame Sinclair.
Madame Orloff, um, you know,
Yeah, she was a bit
just
bonkers in
very,
this.
very eccentric, wasn't it? She was
It's very
eccentric,
over the top.
very, very over the top.
Where these first two have been subtle. This one is a bit more like up pace, but still,
Yeah,
um, the premise is the same though. We've got Reggie.
yeah,
He comes in, and of course, he bumps into the guy who's about to walk into the shop.
yeah.
He bumps into him again. Um, Once again, the shop's empty.
Mm,
Give them enough time. He sees the snuff boxes.
yeah.
He
Changes the
look,
price over.
yeah, so he changes it from 40 quid to 5 quid, and you're like,
Yeah.
naughty, naughty. And just as he does it, and just gives him enough time to close the door, Peter Cushing arrives. But that's the whole point. He's been, what do you do when you think people aren't watching?
Yeah. But did you notice the comment that Peter Cushing made as he walked out? He paid for it, and he went, "I hope you enjoy snuffing it." Now, it's got two meanings in it, because when you snuff
Yep,
it,
yep.
you're dying. So I thought, oh, that was clever. Yeah, hope you enjoy
And the fact
snuffing.
that it blew, when he opened it up, it blew. Once he changed it over, it blew onto his left shoulder.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? This was all done. It's
And
so
he starts walking around like that, doesn't he?
yeah.
Uh,
But movies today can't get that, even that simplicity right.
no,
Movie done now, they're doing his right shoulder, having the left, or having his back. They blow it around his face. They wouldn't actually be that subtle.
no.
And they change it about 10 times. Like
Mm,
something so simple that the act of swapping the price tags over caused it to blow onto his left shoulder where the elemental was going to reside.
yeah.
And it was that simple act. If he hadn't have done that,
And then the elemental seemed to be attacking the wife, didn't it? But she thought it was him. With
That
the
was the least
oh,
convincing. That was the
yeah,
least convincing
and
part, to be
then
honest.
strangling her.
Oh
But
god,
yeah, we
of
got
course he
anyone?
has to
Oh,
bring his
hello,
star
hello,
things.
Chris.
There's
Oh,
he can't help himself. He's one track mind. Honestly, he's mind like a Welsh
is
railway.
he a
One track.
Star Wars person? Is he?
Yeah, he's one of them. Was womp womp pew pew
Yeah,
types. He did a decent enough character. Not much
yeah.
of it. You know,
Uh,
he was just Peter Cushing. He dialed that one in too. I'd say
it,
he gives a better performance in this.
Here's one for you, Chris, because Darth Vader was going around shouting, "A New Hope! Return of the Jedi! The Empire Strikes Back!" So Luke Skywalker says to Han Solo, "What's wrong with him?" And Han Solo says, "Oh, don't worry about him. He's having one of his episodes." There, that's for you, Chris.
Wah wah wah. There's Dale. How are you? Dale and I were on last night. We were doing the Peter Jackson
Yeah.
film series. That's
I do love Peter Jackson films.
we're in the fifth one now. That's been an absolute blast so far.
Yeah. But, Brain Dead was good.
Yeah, that's before you done that. We're on just on Forgotten Silver, and then week after next we're doing the Frighteners.
But Brain Dead was one of those. Do you remember I told you in the previous one about the video shop owner who used to propose films to me? She used to recommend them. And she says, "Oh, you're going to watch this one, Brain Dead. It's your sort of film." I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, it was mental.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we were both exhausted even reviewing that. Like we were just getting more and more excited as we talked about the movie.
Yeah.
We went on for about 2 hours or something.
Mm.
It was a fun review. Yeah, absolutely mental movie. Genius.
Yeah.
But no, I would say Peter Cushing gives a better performance in this than he did in Star Wars. Star Wars, he was just
General something or other, wasn't he?
something.
Because he orders the Death Star to
Moff Tarkin, that was
fire.
it. Moff.
He orders the Death Star to fire, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then it blows up, and he
Yeah.
was womp womp pew pew.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
Mm.
Sorry, Chris, we're not 10 anymore. Some of us grew up. We're watching grown-up movies now.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Where did we go?
there's a franchise that died to death.
Oh well, Disney took it over, didn't they?
Lucas had already killed it before then.
Yeah, I think
Couldn't
Disney
leave it alone. How many times did he
they were
reboot
in
it?
the coffin, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He put the last nail in, and then he gave it over to Disney, going, "Here, you can nail that last one in there. I've killed it as best I can.
Yeah.
Crack on."
Yeah, because the character Jar Jar Binks was just.
Oh,
I don't want to go any further on this. You know, it's the fourth film. Yeah. Anyway, we don't want to discuss Star Wars.
Yeah, God, we're talking about, it's a grown-up channel for grown-ups.
Yeah.
That's why Chris is only allowed in the baby pool of horror.
Right.
He's not allowed. He can't go. He can't do Brain Dead. He's not allowed. That's too much in the deep end for him. Yeah, he has to stay in the shallow end. But
he's gonna kill you now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Reggie.
Number 3. Yeah.
He tries it on, seals his fate, and then he's on the train, and we meet Madame Orloff, and like she's
OTT.
Oh, I see it just straight away.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, right, that's where this is going. There's not too much about this. He gets an imp, essentially. We don't see it, but he gets an imp on his shoulder who causes mischief. The thing where his wife thought, Susan thought that she was strangling him stuff and clawing him. Like, where did the clawed hands come from?
Yeah, I know.
With his perfectly manicured nails.
And he had his back to her as well, and
it doesn't even make sense.
No.
And you're like, you're overacting her a wee bit, love. But then obviously, Madame Orloff's like, overacting. Hold my beer. Hold my gin and tonic. I'll show
Yeah.
you some overacting.
I'm king of the overacting, or
Yeah.
queen. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
it was my least favorite segment. That one.
yeah, it was just but daft. Like the rest have been clever. This one's kind of, but sure, you're going to get that in an anthology anyway.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's possessing him. He's trying to get rid of it. She calls. Of course, he keeps her card and her number because it's only a 20-minute thing. And
The rest of us would have gone, emptied out our pockets when we got home and threw it in the bin immediately, wouldn't we? But
no, but it wasn't the snuff box. It was the
box. Oh, yeah.
powder. No, I mean he sealed his fate by carrying out the act.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. She holds the. Oh, you mean the card? Yeah,
The card. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even made it home.
No. He would have waited until she got off the train and dumped it on the seat or something.
Yep, or in the bin, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, overacting ensues all around. They have like an exorcism of sorts,
Yeah.
like a New Age hippie exorcism. And was anyone surprised when it jumps from him into his wife?
No.
They weren't going to live happily ever after. Come on.
No.
So yeah, she appears, kills him, and then what I do love though is the way she pushes down the front door. Like that was cool.
Right at the end, yeah. Boom.
Like she could have just pushed the door open. No, they went, "Nah, you're smashing that thing down." And I'm like, I like that. That was subtle and a good bit of prop usage.
Yeah.
She's like, life.
Back then, it would have just been the door in the frame, wouldn't it? And
yeah, just take out the hinges and still it worked.
Yeah.
It gave just that wee bit of oomph. Yeah, this one was ridiculous, but still holds him the theme. Just
yeah. I thought it was the weakest of the four.
Yeah.
If you include the burglar, the five, or not burglar, the thief. But yeah, it was. I think it was the sort of sketch where, if you wanted to go and make a coffee,
that's a bit to dip out.
Yeah, I think that's where it came from me, was that so. Yeah.
But they're not long. If this had been half an hour, 45 minutes long, I would have got it. But it was only like a 20-minute thing, so boom.
Yeah.
It's over before you even realise, so you don't really have enough time to get annoyed.
No.
And then we meet William. And to be honest, I kind of thought he was going to make it.
Yeah.
Because this is part of the moral tale. You had to have the survivor. Pleasant enough chap comes in. He looks at the door. Oh, not surprised by Peter Cushing appearing. Everyone else has been afraid so far.
Yeah.
And he was happy to see him.
Yeah. Yeah. But
what?
Why would you really go in the antique shop to buy a door?
He's an artist.
Antique door.
He's an artist.
Yeah.
For a stationery cupboard. I'll not lie. If I could find a door like that, it'd be behind me here.
Yeah.
I'm that sort of person. If I had a door like that, I would burrow out the eyes. I'd have bulbs in it. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? I would have that all hollowed out. And I'd have the LED lights going through so it all shone and stuff. Yeah, that's something I would do.
Yeah.
So can't fault them.
One thing I did think, although I couldn't see, were there faces on both sides of the door? You know, on the door.
Yeah.
Were there like the evil faces on both sides of the door? I don't think there were.
I don't think so. I think it just did one side.
Well, then when he was fighting himself out of the blue room, the door had turned around.
Yeah, I don't think they fitted the door properly. I think it was made out of balsa wood or possibly cardboard. A bit of papier-mâché.
The face was on the living room side.
Yeah. How many times did they lift that door
only
on and off?
when he was fighting in the blue room,
Yeah,
the face was on the side of the blue room.
as if it opened inside. Yep.
He was hitting it with the axe, wasn't he?
The door opened out and it opened in. No, I mean it changed, but they moved the door as well. It opened on the left side and the right side. Did you
Yeah,
notice?
yeah,
And the two removal men, like they were making the whole thing of and then when they set it up, it changed from wood to cardboard, like
yeah.
with a one frame. You're like, just give yourself away there, lads.
Reminded me very much of the scene from The Plank with Tommy Cooper and Eric Sykes. Don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah,
But it reminded me of like a Laurel and Hardy type
yeah.
sketch with the door. Yeah,
I remember his last performance. That was crazy.
Yeah.
The one he actually bought it. You're like, oh, did we just watch that live on TV? Oh dear. And everyone thought it was part of the gag. Was the Queen there? That was in the Albert Hall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he flipping
just died, didn't he?
Yeah, he was doing the escape act.
Yeah.
And
he came out, sat down, didn't he?
No, he was still in the bag.
Eh?
He was still in the bag, wasn't
he? He just was.
And they had to drag him off stage.
Yeah, that's right.
They made it look as if it was part of the act. He was trying to do the act.
Yeah, because they were all behind, going, "Bloody get him off! He's not reacting," like type of thing. Yeah.
God,
if there's a way to die,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, but he was just the sort of guy that you laughed at. I was brought up as a kid with Tommy Cooper, and it was my sort of humor, you know.
Mm-hmm. Slapstick, you know. It's
yeah. I mean, I can always remember the scene with the tablecloth, and you had lots of serious people snatching the tablecloth, and the plates and everything would remain on the table. And Tommy Cooper, he went to pull the thing, and then he'd turn around and go, oh, and tell one of his jokes or whatever, you know, and then he'd go to do it again, and then he'd think, no, I'm not going to do that, and tell another joke, and then finally he does it, and all the plates and the cups were attached to the tablecloth, so he held it up. And that was, as a kid, you thought that was hilarious, but
yeah, you kind of got that wee bit with the door, but I don't think it was intentional.
No,
it's like funny. The last one was unintentionally funny, and this bit of it was just with the door because they took that thing on and off. It was like made of cardboard and stuff. Like
yeah. And even when the two delivery men carried it in, you could see that. I mean, if you had looked at it, you would have thought that's one bloody heavy door, you know, because it was antique, and you know, a lot of antique doors were solid, weren't they? And even when they pushed it up, when he says, "Oh, can you put it there?" It's a case of.
You know? Yeah, that's what I mean. When they went from sideways to up, it went from wood to cardboard.
Oh, you know, it would have took 2 or 3 to actually get it up.
Yeah, like me trying to lift the granite tabletop on Monday and broke my foot. Trying to get downstairs. Bang. I went bump, and then I went forward, slap, and then went to sleep. Somebody went and came and woke me up.
Yeah,
that was a fun Monday. Yeah, I wish I had been that door. I'd have rather carried that door made out of cardboard.
Did you go, quick, Mick, call me an ambulance? And Mick went, Colin is an ambulance. Colin is.
I probably said I was gibbering a bit. I was like going blah 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 blah. It was like laying on top of the thing going blah 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 blah. So I was like, "Are you okay?" I don't think I am. Something blood's pissing out of me and all sorts. I think I'm not okay.
You know, the first thing that's come into my mind. Do you remember that old PG Tips or Tetley advert with the monkeys?
Oh, yes.
They're going up the stairs with the piano.
What do you call him?
No, not that. It's the chimpanzees. And you probably didn't see it.
No, I don't remember that one.
They were taking a piano up the stairs, and one of the chimpanzees, obviously it wasn't his voice, goes, "Do you know the piano's on my foot?" And the one behind him goes, "You hum it, I'll sing it." and it wasn't. The piano was on his foot, but yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Anyway,
but apart from the door being a bit ridiculous, this was
Yeah.
a decent enough, bog standard cursed door leads into another realm.
yeah. And I like the fact that he kept opening it, and it was just the plain shelving. And then the next time he opened it, he was trying to say to his girlfriend or wife, whatever it was, there's a room behind the door, and she just wasn't believing him.
It was a bit like House.
Yeah,
it was a bit like House, where that had happened, didn't happen, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Fun. This one had a bit more of a tease of a backstory. When they talk about Sir Michael Sinclair and the diabolical stuff he got up to, that would have been a great standalone series or film.
Yeah.
That would have been a cracking one to get his. That would have been a good prequel. How he made that door, because they'd actually built up his character quite menacingly, and I was like, what type of black magic did he do? What type of witchcraft? How did he get away? I was thinking sort of Lady Bathory type stuff.
But they used the color blue quite well, because everything seemed to be blue, didn't it? And every prop and everything.
Blue's a strange,
bit like the Sixth Sense
strange color. Yeah, because if you've ever seen me do the reviews when I'm on my own, I put the red lights on.
Yeah.
But for some reason, blue has this eerily soothing sort of aspect to it.
Yeah.
It's actually a cool color, and I was never a massive fan of blue growing up, as a color on things. As I got older and started playing them more, I realized that it's actually a really eerie color. It's actually better than red for horror.
Because if you ever put like on the smart bulbs, because you can change color on them, if you put the blue on, like you said, it makes the whole environment.
If I go deeper again, like there's like it just gives that sort of eerie glow to it, even coming off my face. It's like gives a bit of an ethereal. It's got a bit of an ethereal vibe to it.
Yeah, it seems to make situations quite spooky, doesn't it? There just seemed to be the use of color quite well. Like I said back in one of our previous podcasts, the color red was used in The Sixth Sense, and there was another one, wasn't it? And I mentioned, can't remember now. But this one seemed to use blue in its props. There was the wine glass, and
there's the bottle in the room itself, and the chandelier, and even with the cobwebs, and that just looked
blue.
But it looked good. Where if they were white, your typical white cobwebs, I think it would have looked cheap. Where it managed to mask the sort of, I'm always worried about overly cobwebbing things. I'm not a massive fan. I think it's a wee bit cliched.
Yeah.
But with the blue light on it, it kind of worked.
If you think back in 1974, to actually get that effect was probably quite hard for the amount that was.
I didn't realize there was associations with the colours.
Yeah.
That's an address. That'd be an interesting one to look into. Colour and horror. Maybe that could be a wee segment.
Yeah, because they seem to express a lot with colour. Have to go through all the films that had colour.
Yeah, and start seeing, okay, what are they trying to say?
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, he buys this door. He talks to Peter Cushing's character. He's like, I've only 40 quid on me. Would you take that? Or he wasn't even trying to diddle him.
No.
The fact that
he got it for 40 quid.
Yeah, but not only that there, I just couldn't help thinking of Jim Bowen.
Oh yeah.
He has it over about, okay, it's almost like, yes, I'll start counting this. I'll be finished after the break.
Go to break. 10, 20, 30.
Oh god. That was a game show called Bullseye.
Won. Yes.
They win like 150 quid,
You
and Jim
imagine it.
Bowen be like, "Yes, this is so much money. I'll finish counting it after the break." It's like £50 notes. You're like, oh dear.
And here's what you could have won. Rub it in.
Yeah. That game show was harsh.
Yeah.
That was brutal. And basically, what it was a professional darts player and a contestant, and it was around between answering so many questions to give the darts player so many goes and stuff. And if you had a better darts player than the other person, it didn't matter how many questions you answered and all that good stuff. And then at the end, the non-darts player had to go and decide what they won.
Yeah.
Game was evil. But yeah, that's what I just couldn't. The way Peter Cushing starts counting his money, I'm like, I just couldn't help thinking of Jim Bowen. I'm like, yeah, just had a wee smirk. But yeah, that's the standard. We'll see that Sinclair's trying to take over Williams' character.
Yeah.
And then he resists, and then he decides, the door keeps opening and closing, like you said. 1 minute's the other room and that, and then they find out about what Sinclair was up to. In fact, he goes in and reads off his journal or something.
Yeah.
One of the visits. So he decides to get out of the house, he locks all the doors, but he tries to tempt his wife in. And then he figures out the chop the door apart would end the curse.
Yeah.
Which quite straightforward. However, the only reason he gets that epitome is because he didn't try to screw over Peter Cushing. Because then it finishes up. They both survive, get out. The door disappears.
Yeah.
And then we finish off with Peter Cushing going 39, 40, just right.
Yeah. Yeah. Clever. Very, very clever.
So there's the example of, like you were saying before, what if he hadn't done this? What if he hadn't done that? Well, here's the example of somebody came in with honesty, wasn't tempted.
Yeah.
And yes, they were still given the temptation, but they survived the trial.
Yeah. Yeah. But he was still given the task, wasn't he?
Yeah, still given the task, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think you're given a chance to redeem yourself or something, can you still fall into temptation? You know what I mean? You buy it's like you roll the dice, you buy the item, you're rolling the dice, you're playing the game, you're playing the devil's bones.
Yeah.
These are, you know what I mean? All these sort of phrases we've got to look up and we really got to do this. The whole morality and horror thing is an amazing phenomenon.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's this one that sparked my imagination wanting to do this talk. What do you think, folks? Should we do it? Should we do morality and horror? Talk about all the moral messages that's been in the horror genre since dawn of time. Because it's...
Tell us.
I honestly think it's the best genre that's done it without being preachy. And there is a bit of farce to send it into. But lazy, right? No, it's just lazy storytellers.
I think it's because people think of horror as really gruesome, don't they? And
everybody thinks it's a slasher.
Yeah, but is there like you said, is there a story behind it? In a story that could mean something. If I'm trying to think of a good film, look, if you take I suppose The Sixth Sense is a good one to think of.
I don't want to talk about Shiny Bum.
Yeah.
He annoys me.
As we call
Shiny Bum.
Yeah. Did you ever see the interview after his Sixth Sense done very well? He goes, he was so far up his own backside that and I had the biggest grossing horror film of all time. And wow, did you?
Really? You only mentioned about
1,000 million times? Yeah.
Horror is it's true. Horror is such a wide ranging genre. You can get so much out of it, but it all depends on the storytelling. A good storyteller will present the question like this is basic, but there's a good premise to it, and it presents it to you. So it's up to you to make up your mind.
Yeah.
That they deserve it to happen, did they not? Well, he did mention he was here with me when we did the review, and Chris. But there's a bit of a 2v1 on that one because Chris is like, "This is the best thing ever." It's like, "No, it's not, mate. No, it's not." He's like, "Whoa." But then Chris got other things from it that we like didn't even pick up, and was like, "Oh, cool. That's why you have different perspectives because it makes the conversation more interesting."
Yeah.
Rather than everyone just going lockstep with the same flipping thought. We only have one thought. That's boring. Like, who wants to live? Oh, wait, there are idiots want to live in a world like that. They're not very exciting people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool. And then we get to the epilogue, and finally, the robber who was seen since the start, who knows going to rob the shop,
Yeah.
because he may as well had a freaking sign on his back.
Saying Robert.
Yeah. Even when he's reaching in for his cosh, and you're like, yeah, he's going to rob the joint.
Don't you think he's very much a sort of late 1800s type of robber?
Oh, yeah, he's a highwayman.
Yeah, it's as if he's like got a, machete or anything like that.
I was expecting to come in the Reaper and just be like, stand and deliver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. But he comes into the shop, and as always, Peter Cushing's on about. Is this the bit where he had the crocodile, or was it the last one? No, he has the pistols.
Yeah, the pistols.
And he's like, I was just loading, because you load flint pistols before putting them in a box to give to a customer. That's what you do, and you prime them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you do. Absolutely.
Even though it's illegal to have a loaded.
No, but even for safe transportation, you don't put the flint in.
No, that's right. Yeah, I was just loading them. Yeah.
You do know it's a joke, mate. Chris taking it all serious.
Yeah.
Yes, my review is valid. Thank you very much.
Poor Chris.
Oh dear, that's okay. He's gonna have fun with Tremors too. Then it gets really daft. We're doing Tremors 2, and then that's like the next sensible one, and then it just goes mental.
Wasn't Kevin Bacon in Tremors? Kevin Bacon was in Tremors, wasn't he?
He was in the first one.
First one.
Yeah, and then we don't see him again.
And it went terrible.
Yeah, we've still another 6 movies to do, so we're going to descend down that rabbit hole. And 2 TV shows. Need to find those TV shows as well.
Oh god.
Yeah, fun times. But yeah, we've got Peter Cushing. He's loaded up these pistols because set up and a half. And the guy should know if you're coming in with bad intent and somebody's smiling and handing you the weapons, you're being set up. You should be the old spider sense should be tingling like mad.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a bit dumb though, wasn't he?
Well, if you're standing about outside a shop all day getting ready to rob it and you're so obvious, you're not exactly a bright spark, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to rob the shop with 2 pistols that he's just given me.
Yeah. Because that's going to work. But I'm coming in with a flipping truncheon, a flipping thing. That's what I'm robbing the place with.
Yeah.
That has swords and all sorts.
Yeah.
And the guy's not bothered. That should be a hint. The guy's not bothered.
No.
You should be going, why is he not worried? It's the old hero's tale, isn't it? When you're the group of muggers and the hero's standing in front of you, not saying anything and smiling, you're like, should I be doing this? Never works out well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he jumps straight up.
Give us the contents of the till, wasn't it? He wanted the money out of the till, didn't he?
What did Peter Cushing say? He's like, no, I don't want to.
Go away.
Yeah. Like if somebody's so calm and casual about that, you're like, yeah, I'm not in a good place. And then he takes the pistols up handed. Nothing happens. It's when he throws the pistols.
Yeah.
And he's bouncing off him like foam. And you're like, nah, you're in trouble. And then he just falls into the coffin.
Yeah. And then he just, oh well, will it Peter Cushing?
Yep.
Oh, he's in the coffin.
Yeah, with the spikes, because
Yeah,
it's like a box version of an Iron Maiden.
yeah, yeah,
And then we get the little epilogue.
yeah.
Yeah, come
He
in. We
goes,
have.
I've got to speak to my customers, isn't it? And he was speaking to the audience who were watching the film. I thought it was very clever,
Mhm.
very clever. But yeah, and, yeah. Well, I do enjoy the film. I think it's one of those that's on my list that I would never get bored of watching it. In fact,
No, no, it's a pleasant watch.
I
It's.
watched it 3 times over the past
Mhm.
well, if you take out my holiday week, the past 2 weeks,
Mhm.
yeah, 3 times, and trying to pick out, what I'm like with mistakes. And like I said, there was only one that I could classify as a mistake, um, which was the other one we just didn't know if it was a mistake, with David Warner having blood on his blue shirt that he changed from a white one, and
I think it was just highlighting the descent into
just
madness.
highlighting, yeah. So, but yeah, it's just from what I can make out, just the guy with the light shining, production guy. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good, and I do like anthologies anyway in films. You got the
I like
um,
them if they're part of a theme.
yeah,
I don't like anthologies that are just thrown together.
no, no.
That's a mess. Oh, there's the Terminator guy from Twitch. Greetings. You've just come out at the end as we're just about to wrap up.
Hello,
Unless
Terminator
you've been,
guy.
hopefully you've been watching throughout. But yeah, good to have you on, man. Good to have. We just need somebody from Facebook now to jump on. We've got the whole trifecta of comments. Yes. By the way, Facebook folks, you can comment.
Yeah.
Hey, no bother at all. Just this is what we're we're on. Good to have you.
Twitch.
Obviously you can watch back, but we've been discussing From Beyond the Grave. It's a horror anthology. But yeah, Twitch won't let me bloody put the schedule. No, in YouTube I can schedule a stream and it'll let people know when it's on.
Yeah.
Twitch only lets you do it if you're doing something the same day every week,
Mm.
and that doesn't work because
Oh,
that's not what we do here. We do various segments and that, and they're different. And yes, we have a few themes now, the series we're following, but that's not all the time. I don't like the way Twitch is set up because you can't really let the audience know unless you manually put everything in. But even manually putting it in, it has to be it's either every Monday or every Thursday, or it's not very good.
yeah. Yeah.
But we've already got people watching, which is cool. It's good to have everyone aboard. That's why we streamed to multiple platforms because it gives everyone a chance. But always good to have you. Everyone is watching. Obviously, glad you come along for the ride. That's what we do. We're talking about new movies, old movies, TV series. We talk about games, books, you name it. Tie-ins. So this is a good one to watch if you like just straightforward horror. Classic
Yeah.
horror with a wee bit of a moral tale, ambiguous moral tale where you have to figure out is the character good or bad? Did they deserve what happened to them? This is a good anthology.
Yeah. And Peter Cushing makes the film as
Absolutely. Even though he's only in it for little snippets.
yeah,
Character and this is brilliant. It's understated.
yeah, yeah, very. But I think again, right throughout the film, it's well cast. From David Warner.
Mm-hmm.
He's a class actor. Really, he's one of those actors. I think is very underrated. He should have had a lot more prominence in films where David Warner was top of the number one star sort of thing. But I think he was perfect in this film. And Donald Pleasance, he's just a class actor anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you look at all the names that probably wouldn't have been prominent in 1974, but they went on to be, in some quite good and major films.
Yeah,
But
but then again, you can be famous now, but the thing's legacy.
mm,
So while some might be, oh, didn't get their start in the time, there's folks that will always be remembered.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And there's some that are maybe big stars at the time. You forget half their movies. I'll
yeah.
give you an example today. What do you call him? Big Dumb Johnson.
Don Johnson.
Dumb Johnson. Dummy. The Rock.
Oh right, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Who's going to remember anything he's done once his PR team stop pushing him?
yeah.
He
But
is going to be, he's big star because his PR team pushes him big star. The minute he stops making movies and goes into retirement,
yeah,
he'll be forgotten about.
a
Where we've
bit
got
like
actors here that mightn't have been A-listers, but they'll be remembered. Like, and you can still watch their stuff
a bit
30,
like
40 years down the line.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, really. He was. Everyone wanted to watch his
Oh, yeah, he was tip of
the
the
fight.
apex, wasn't he?
Yeah,
And
and then suddenly he's advertising Coors beer.
yeah,
But he's forgotten, and a lot of people would go, "Who is this guy advertising Coors
another 10
beers?"
years, he'll be completely forgotten.
Yeah,
That's what I
um,
mean. So, stardom isn't important.
no,
Quality work.
yeah,
And that's what part of the theme of this show is obviously talking to creators and about creativity.
mm,
If you create something with the right attitude, for the desire to create, things have a habit of falling into place.
yeah.
If you're chasing stardom, you might achieve it, briefly, or if you're trying to like get the
There's-
viral video, you might achieve it. But then after that, what have you got to say for
If,
yourself, or
if, you-
what's
if you're a superstar, there's always the expectation from the fans that you're going to make a good movie.
Mhm.
Um,
the
you
first
know,
stuff one you do, the first thing that
first,
goes wrong, it's not well received, you're down the toilet.
you look at Will Smith. Will Smith's on his. What has he done recently that's actually good?
He kind of screwed himself up anyway. So
Yeah, when he smacked
he, he
well,
kind of self-destructed. He did that to himself, so can't really. He was already in like this, but I don't
I
think
think
his.
he also died around the time of After Earth. Did you ever see After Earth?
Oh
Yeah,
God,
that was an M Night
was that a
Shyamalan.
shiny bum?
That was a shiny
Friggin'
one.
oh
Yeah,
God, abortion. Oh God,
it was terrible.
yeah. That's
Um, yeah,
didn't he get that desperate to try to do another Bad Boys movie?
yeah, yeah.
Like how tragic is that when you're trying to drag
Um,
characters, young characters, like out 20 years after they're done? You're like,
yeah,
nah, that's. But then again, that's why I watch horror, because you don't get too much of that. We know these are low budget movies, and you got the
yeah.
mainstream stuff, which is just watch once and forget sort of thing.
Yeah.
Suck it, David Gordon Green, you twat. Are you the savior of horror now with those ratings?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People like that just burn and they disappear because he'll go into action movies or something after this, or love stories,
Yeah.
whatever it is he wants to make.
Yeah. It's if you take the likes of a director like Ken Roach,
Mm-hmm.
very choosy with what he comes out, and you might not hear from him for 10 years, and then he comes up with a belter of a movie which he's chosen because he knows he can do a good job of it. And he doesn't go, oh yeah, I'm gonna do Star Wars, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do 3 films a year. You might get one every 10 years sort of thing. But it's not horror, Ken Roach. He doesn't do horror, but yeah.
Now, horror is like the most forgiving genre
Mm,
because they understand the limitations. But you don't last if you don't have integrity.
no.
Even slashers, you know what I mean? There has to be a bit of integrity because even they fall flat because it's been done 100 times. So you gotta.
They try to revive it, don't they? When it's fallen flat, a bit like the Halloween movies.
That's why I'm making the joke about The Exorcist,
Yeah,
whatever it's called, Believer or something. Like, it's just
yeah,
fallen off a cliff before it's even started, and that
yeah,
arsehole's going around. I'm the savior of horror. I'm going to make it all a love story. It's like, yeah, okay, mate.
Yeah.
That's why I'm gloating a bit because I'm like,
It
you're
was I think it was a TV movie of exorcists. What was it called?
I
Let's just
don't
have a
remember
Exor.
3, obviously.
Uh, um,
I need to watch them again actually. Because I know they weren't fun. I like 2. People slag that off a bit, but I did like the fact they tried to bring like a like Reagan back, and the
yeah.
aftermath, that it wasn't just all everybody lived happily ever after.
Mm,
You know, I did like that. Just didn't do it too well.
yeah. Um,
Was it that a weird one, didn't it? Gotta remember that. Maybe go
Prime.
back right though.
I'm trying to think what I actually saw it on on Prime. Um, Come
Never
on.
mind that. Exorcism is 64,000 feet. Check that one out. It's a horror comedy. I reviewed it. Go back to the
Yeah.
videos. That one's mental. A lot of fun. That's
Prime.
that's a cool one to watch. Really enjoyed that one. Just daft as hell.
Didn't um what's his name? The funny guy. He was in Dracula Dead. Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen. Yeah.
Didn't he do a Mickey take of Exorcist? There it is.
Did I?
Exorcist Vengeance was released last year.
I don't remember that one. I'm
It's
not. I can only watch because a lot of them are the same trope. Old priest and a young priest walking in exorcism. So I
yeah,
watch an exorcist style movie, but I have to like leave it months before I watch another one because I'm done. You've watched it and you've seen everything. If that makes sense,
yeah,
so I have to like leave it before I watch another style, because that's the worst thing as well on streaming. If you pick one exorcist style movie, bloody hundreds of them just start appearing afterwards, like a
yeah.
fucking chewing gum.
On the thing you might like.
They're belting at you, it's like right, calm down. Freaking lot of them are awful.
Yeah, this
Boring.
one must be good because it's got a IMDb rating of 2.9.
Fantastic.
So it's one to watch, right? Not.
Do you know what? Some of those movies are fun though. They're fun to rip apart.
Yeah,
See, I don't mind bad movies if they're fun. If a movie's so bad, it's but it's done with heart, that you can actually just rip it apart for all the mistakes.
yeah.
That's a good time to have by all, and I don't ever hate anyone for doing that.
I'm trying to think of the one I watched.
Sorry, the chat's going mad here. None two. It was all right. It's your typical popcorn. Get some popcorn, watch it. I did a review. I nearly fell asleep because I was in one of those 4DX chairs that rub and blow stuff on you, and it was just rubbing me and putting me to sleep. So I'm sitting, it's going back and forward, I guess, in the camera, and I'm like,
Yeah, I think.
and then like, oh, priest and fire. Okay, I'm awake.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
The story on that, I was having none of it.
It's nothing.
You didn't get that, did you? I was having none of it. Never mind.
Oh god, no.
One I watched the other.
The true horror is Steve's puns. This is the true horror of this podcast.
The one I watched the other night, A Savannah Haunting. It's actually quite good.
Did I watch it? I think I've watched that one.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. But it's obviously it's one of those inspired by a true story ones, which
yeah, it can be.
But it actually stars the people who were involved. William McCulloch, and a few of the others. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that.
The important question is though, are we going to go through the Amicus series? Because they're coming. Didn't you send me a message that they're
I read a report.
They're resurrecting themselves.
I sent you the report, didn't I?
Yeah, Amicus Studios is coming back
in August this year. They announced they were coming back with a new title, because the guy who ran Amicus up until 1974. Ran something else, another type of studio, and suddenly announced he's bringing back Amicus. So yeah, might be a good thing, might be a bad thing,
They're
because
based in Shepperton, which isn't too far from me, so I could nip over and be like,
horror
hello.
these days is, I think, it's very competitive. Some is rubbish and some is good, but to bring, as long as he could come back with the same sort of genre as the stuff he did in 1974.
You can
And
tell the same stories just in a modern setting. This is the thing. This is the whole thing of timeless storytelling.
yeah,
It does. This whole thing of modern audiences cracks me up because the modern audience is only for a generation, and then it's no longer the modern audience. It becomes aged and irrelevant because then you've got the new modern audience. Where if you have the timeless tale is always temptation, fighting your inner demons, good versus evil, and that's not like I said. Well, I need to think more about morality because that's thrown in, but you don't tell people morality as you leave it up to the audience to decide.
yeah,
Did that person deserve their fate? Were
yeah.
they right? Were they wrong? You know, what I mean, that's up to each person, and you leave the story just open enough that people can
As
make up their own minds.
as we know from doing Beyond from Beyond the Grave, your opinion of morality might be different than my opinion of the film about morality.
Yeah, much like opinion of your jokes.
Yeah.
Should go on a ghost hunt. Yeah, right. Flipping ghosts would be running. The ghosts would be screaming if I come in. Get that idiot away from me! Yeah.
Were you in the army? Did you say?
Yeah, I did 1 or 17 years.
I can just imagine you looking for landmines. There we go.
Actually, that was pretty close. One of my last exercises in the middle of Otterburn, and just outside Newcastle.
Yeah.
Horrendous place. I've got the Valum. It's like the metal detector thing, front of the thing going, and I mean, you're on a range, so spam cases everywhere. So this thing's just going bleep, 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 bleep. Right, the wind is going sideways. I'm soaked, and I'm sitting, because your rifle's there, and you're flipping doing this thing, bleep, bleep, bleep. I'm just going, would something just blow me up right now? Honestly, I welcome death. It can't be worse than this. And it was an exercise, so I'm like, would it just a real landmine turn up, please, and just put me out of my misery? This is shit. And that was, I think I was out 6 months after that. Yeah, it was that sort of last major exercise I did before I signed off. Yeah, and I just remember wishing for a landmine, going just something, I can't do this anymore. This is boring. And this thing's just whizzing and no indication because just all the interference, the things didn't work properly half because you got the duff ones. Obviously, you got the good ones for on the job. So the duff ones were used for training to go through it. And if you were going to go into the exercise, they'd tell you anyway, they'd blow something up beside you. So it didn't really matter. You weren't finding it until they blew you up because they wanted to do cat sim. I just like, a rocket, a flipping mortar shell, an artillery shell, something. Just, I'll take it.
Yeah,
but fun times. But anyway, this is
Beyond the Grave.
Good anthology. Shall we go back through? Shall we look at these other ones up? Because I know we're going to do the House of Drip Blood, so it seems like a bit of a shame not to do the rest.
Yeah, because a good studio, isn't it? It's pretty good studio.
Easily mistaken for Hammer.
Yeah,
but it's just got that.
If you watch one Hammer next to, and you didn't know the difference, you'd think, "Oh, this must be a Hammer film."
Yeah.
Or the other way around. Oh, this must be a Amicus film,
mm-hmm.
Because they were so their films are so alike in production wise.
What's obviously crossed a lot of the same team.
Yeah.
But there you go. Yeah, everyone, and yes, Chris, thanks for making the trifecta and commenting on Facebook. So we've got every platform just testing it, make sure it works. Who have I missed out? This Terminator guy in Twitch, Starmate, good to have you on. Did I see somebody else? Anthony Carroll, good to have you, man. The only anthology film with a twist ending that makes it ends on a happy note, yeah, because Robert got his just desserts, and who doesn't love a Peter Cushing monologue straight at the camera?
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, very clever, very clever.
Yeah, he was awake during this one. He was only half asleep during the star things. He's like, "Am I really dressing up to do this? Okay, okay, I'm over. Right, I'll take my paycheck. See you."
Yeah.
Star thing. All right, folks. Same again. Thanks very much. We'll start scheduling these up, and we'll go through this whole Amicus anthology series, and then we'll maybe look at some other ones that maybe we didn't realize were Amicus Studios, and we'll keep you up to date on the return as well. We'll keep our eyes open for that. Be interesting to see what comes out of it. And we'll, as usual, games, books, narrative fiction, you name it, we do it. Avatar, it's on here in some shape or form. So keep up to date with the channel, do the typey clicky things. And until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.